Hi everyone, this is Mindy Eggen and welcome to my channel. Today I'm participating in the Altenew July 2024 release video hop. I'm going to share with you some of the brand new products that are being released and also create a card for you, but be sure to check out the video description down below. I'm going to have a link to the next person in the video hop. This is a quick look at the card that I'm going to be creating, but first I want to share with you the products that I received. So with Altenew, as a guest designer during a video hop, I'm able to pick out the products that I want to use. And picking out products is like going shopping when you're hungry or ordering from a menu and then you find out that your eyes are bigger than your stomach because there are a ton of amazing products that I picked out. And as I'm showing here on screen and I'm kind of babbling, I love each and every one of them. And I'm only going to have time to create with one of them. The summertime, I keep forgetting how hard it is to get videos done, but I do have intentions. I am going to take a day and just sit and play with this because there's some other products from a past release that I have been meaning to play with as well. Now, when I say that I picked out these products, that means that if Altenew wouldn't have sent them to me, I would have purchased them with my own money because they are gorgeous. I love layering stencils. I love coordinating dies for my large sentiments, like that happens to be on this particular set. And I'm actually going to use this in my video today because the sentiments really drew me in. I thought the flower was a fairly simple one to start with, and it had a coordinating stencil. So not only do they have coordinating stencils for their dies, but they also have the Better Press plates. This image is gorgeous. I really want to watercolor this. It is a Better Press plate, so you can either use the Spellbinders Better Press system, or you can hot foil if you have a Glimmer hot foil machine. This is another one, the Blossoming Bouquet. What really piqued my interest about this is not only does it have a couple sentiments and that floral image, along with a coordinating die, but there is also an embossing folder that goes with it. So I'm really excited to play with that. I thought that was something unique that I haven't tried before with my Better Press designs. Another Better Press plate that they have is kind of like this basket weave type of Better Press plate. So that is this one. I thought would be a really fun kind of subtle texture to add to a background for a card project. Again, you can also hot foil with them or just running them through your die cut machine with a certain amount of pressure. And that would also just kind of leave an imprint or an embossed design on there if you don't happen to have the Better Press system. There's also this new embossing folder that has a bunch of these sentiments in the background. I thought the sentiments were really nice and would make for a good subtle texture. We also have this Tangerine Grow. I love tangerines as far as images. I think you can just make them so vibrant. I don't eat them, but I think they're beautiful for images. Now there is a coordinating die to die cut it out. Love that. An embossing folder, and then of course a stencil. So if you've followed me for a while, you should know, or maybe you don't, but I am a huge fan of the Altenew stamps, stencils, blending brushes. I just love them. And something that they do quite often is come out with these super large stamp sets. Now, I know they're a higher price point, but what I really love about them is you have so much imagery to work with. There's filled with sentiments. I was really drawn to the butterflies on here, but with those larger flowers on there, you can do it maybe on one panel or a couple panels and then cut the panel up so you can get multiple cards from the one design. Now, the question being, would I personally purchase this? Absolutely, yes. They had a peony one that they didn't send me. I wasn't a part of that release, and that's totally fine. You know what? I went out and purchased it because I loved it so much. And they are really great if you journal or scrapbook or want to make 5x7 cards. So I love all of these products. They are definitely staying in my bucket for a to-do list someday. Along with this release, there are 3 new inks that they come out with in their round ink pads. I don't remember the exact name of the collections offhand, but I will have all of these products listed down below in my video description and over on my blog. This first one, I really loved that first color I swatched. It was a very nice kind of warm gray, and I'm going to be using that color for my kind of go-to technique. Now we have the pink collection. That first color was just, I love it. So I knew I was going to be using that in my card project today. And as we go through the 4 different colors, you're going to see that gradual change from light to dark. Now, in this one, there's actually 4 colors. You cannot see that first color on my cardstock. It is a super, super light blue, but I think if you use it to stamp multiple times, it would definitely show up a little bit better. So, whether you find something from this release that you want to purchase, or maybe you're just watching to take a look at the inspiration, or even just see some of the products that I find to be my favorites, I hope in one way or another this video has inspired you. But be sure to leave comments down below in the video description. Maybe let me know what your favorite is out of the products that I showed. I would love to know. But just follow along. Maybe you'll find some inspiration in this. I'm going to be starting off with my favorite way to do my stamping and stenciling, and that is by stamping in a light color first. So I'm using the Altenew stamp wheel. I have a large piece of cardstock in my stamp wheel there, tucked in the bottom left-hand corner. I've learned my lesson in past videos, and I kind of conditioned it with their stamp eraser. So I was trying that out. You just rub it over your stamp. That helps condition the stamp so that it will take ink better. I'm going to use that first gray that I had shared. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of this one offhand, but it is the first light gray in that brand new collection. This is my favorite way of doing my stamping and stenciling is I stamp it in a light gray first. I'm going to leave my stamp in place. So I'm not going to take it off of the stamp wheel because once I'm done ink blending, I want to be able to come back over and stamp on top of it again with a black ink. I'm always super paranoid of my ink smearing when I ink blend. And by doing it this way, I've been able to kind of ink blend without that fear. And it's just freeing to do it that way for me personally. Now, while I had my stamp wheel out, I used the other side of the plate and just did that sentiment really quick. So I had that all ready to go. To do my ink blending, I did bring out my large, I think it's like a 9 by 12 sticky mat that Altenew has, and I placed my cardstock on that to hold my cardstock in place. And then I can start lining up the stencil. Now, some of parts of my video are going to be kind of normal paced, and then others I'm going to speed up. And in other parts, I'll just show you the reveal because I end up doing the same thing over and over. So instead of, having you watch all that repetitiveness, you'll be able to see the reveal and what it's looking like. So for this one, I find it a very easy stencil to start with because there aren't a ton of layers that you need to add to your flower. I'm going to start off with the first layer for each flower by doing a little bit of light yellow at the tip, so the outer edge of the flower, and then that light pink in the center. And I'm going to have those just barely touch towards the center of the flower. And I'll just keep repeating that with the light yellow and that lighter pink. I do end up coming back to it later on to add a little bit of a darker pink, but you'll see that as we go. So I just shift my stencil down, I line it up. I do have to kind of twist and turn to get it to find the right area of the flower, but it's really easy to line up. I'm also very accustomed to the Altenew stencils. So once you kind of learn how their stencils work, you get quicker at it. A lot of people will tell me I'm not very good at ink blending or I'm not very fast. You don't have to be fast at ink blending. I have definitely sped up a little bit, and that's mainly because I've just learned my inks. I have learned how the blending brushes work, how much ink I need. Some of my ink pads I found, like my green, is going to be super, super juicy. I think part of that has to do with my house and the temperature right now because it's been super muggy in our house. So I think that's where part of that plays in. Now here I started bringing in the darker shade and adding just a little bit of the darker shade to the center to help kind of brighten that up a little bit or give it a little bit more contrast. So in my babbling, I had finished off my flower, but I skipped the centers. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for my centers just yet. So I moved on to the leaves. You may also notice that I use Post-it tape to mask off certain areas because I don't want my ink to transfer off the edge of the stencil and get on my flower. So I do have Post-it tape handy. This is where I came back in to do the center of the flowers. I did kind of a very golden yellow and then a very kind of light warm brown. Now, once all of that was done, I brought this back over to my stamp wheel, tucked it down into that bottom corner, which is where I started with, and then I'm inking it up with the Obsidian ink. Now, this is a pigment ink, so it does stay wet a little bit longer. Before I die cut anything, I will be taking my heat tool to it to help dry that ink. For the background in this stencil pack is this background stencil that I found really interesting. It's got kind of this like star pattern to it. I apologize, my lights are super bright right now, so the background is really, really hard to see throughout the video. I'm going to try and tilt it a little bit later on so you can see it. But I'm using a large blending brush and that light warm gray ink, and I did a very scattered pattern. I picked up my stencil, I moved it around. It doesn't matter if these areas line up perfectly or not, because that large flower is going to cover parts of the area. So it's very scattered, very, I don't know if I want to say mixed media, but it's definitely a different look. I think it brings a little bit of playfulness to the card design. So this ends up being a 5x7 card. I love these large florals and I have been enjoying making these larger size cards. So I will have all of my supplies listed down below in the video description and over on my blog, but be sure to check out the next person in the video hop. They are going to have some great inspiration to share with you, and let me know down in the comments what your favorite product is from this release. I would love to know. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you again soon with another card tutorial.